Good morning. Our prelude today is True Colors, written by Billy Steinberg and Tom Kelly.
Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Orlando. My name is Kat, and I serve on the 1U worship team. We welcome all to join us as we explore our Unitarian Universalist faith, which draws us into a community of justice seekers with a commitment to lifelong spiritual growth and compassionate service to the community. For more information about our congregation, go to orlandouu.org or email WelcomeTeam@orlandouu.org. Our announcements for today all have links in our newsletter or on our website and will be repeated at the end of the service. After service today at 11:30 is our usual fellowship where we gather with each other and chat. One of the breakout rooms is the Welcome Center where you can bring any questions you might have about our church. Here's the meeting number and passcode. We'll repeat this slide at the end of worship. All are welcome. Also today at 11:30, the Wrestling with Our Understanding of Racism class will meet. All are welcome, and we will be discussing the intersection of racism and transphobia. Next week, on October 9th, 1U will be participating in the Orlando Come Out with Pride event by marching in the parade and sharing info about 1U at our tent. There's many ways to help. Contact Paul for more details or come hear about it during fellowship time after the service. Later, on October 23rd, it's the Central Florida Veg Fest. You can contact Gabby, our program assistant, for more information. Our Share the Plate this month is the Coalition of Immokalee Workers. The Coalition of Immokalee Workers is a worker-based human rights organization recognized for its achievements in the fields of corporate social responsibility, community organizing, and modern-day slavery and other labor abuses common in agriculture. Here is a video outlining their successful initiative, the Fair Food Program.
Every day, with every meal we eat, we make choices. And those choices have an impact that stretches from our kitchen tables all the way into our nation's fields, where hard-working men and women pick our produce. Through the triumphant work of the Fair Food Program, the Coalition of Immokalee Workers has grown an environment of respect and dignity, sown from the seeds of workers, growers, and buyers, partnering together to protect farm workers' human rights. For the past decade, the worker-driven Fair Food Program has radically transformed the conditions for farm workers with the support and partnership of the nation's largest food retailers. Committed to elevating ethical standards, these buyers have leveraged their vast market power to bring groundbreaking transparency and enforceable protections to their produce supply chains. Together, their achievements continue to expand to new horizons, reaching both new industries and new regions every year. The infrastructure created and sustained by the Fair Food Program has successfully provided not only safety and security to those who harvest our food, but fundamental human dignity. From requiring clean drinking water and shade structures to uprooting sexual harassment and systemic racism, the agricultural workplace has been transformed one field at a time by the program's pioneering model. The sudden outbreak of COVID-19 threatened widespread illness among farm workers and the disruption of the industry at all levels. To mitigate the grave risks of this pandemic, the Fair Food Program's established partnerships made life-saving preventative measures possible, effectively safeguarding not only farm workers, but growers, buyers, and consumers as well. The food we depend on comes to us with a story. It is one that we can be proud to share. The Fair Food Program ensures that the food we eat is grown with safety and dignity that is made real every day for farm workers. That is the power of prevention.
If you'd like, you can make an online donation at the church website, send your donation by text, or mail a check. Remember to put Coalition of Immokalee Workers in the memo line. You can also give to our Share the Plate partner directly on their website. Please let us know you donated that way by dropping a line to programassistant1u@gmail.com. The Share the Plate nomination form is open. If you know of another great organization serving our Central Florida community, please consider nominating them. The nomination form can be found in the chat and in our weekly update. Please join me in making an offering to support the many other ministries of this congregation. You can go to orlandouu.org and click the donate button in the upper right corner, send a text, or mail a check. It's wonderful being with you today. Now let us worship together.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Good morning. I'm Nicole Deaver. Unitarian Universalists light a chalice at the beginning of worship to set aside this time as sacred. Please join me in saying our familiar words. In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share.
We begin today with words from Elizabeth Ketchum. May we live the spirit of pride. With gratitude for the freedom to be our true, authentic selves, may we live the spirit of pride. With the courage that comes from challenging fear, may we live the spirit of pride. With sorrow for those who could not be here with us today, and in honor of those who died of AIDS or who lost their lives, may we live the spirit of pride. With grief for those whose pain was unbearable and who left us too soon, may we live the spirit of pride. Looking ahead to the justice still withheld, may we live the spirit of pride. With the confidence that a sense of community banishes isolation and loneliness, may we live the spirit of pride. With the rainbow flag flying high, a sense of beloved community among us, and the joy that comes from making new connections, may we live the spirit of pride.
Today we're reading Guji Guji by Chi Wen Chun. An egg was rolling on the ground. It rolled through the trees. It rolled across the meadow. It rolled all the way down the hill. Finally, it rolled right into a duck's nest. Mother Duck didn't notice. She was reading. Soon enough, the eggs began to crack. The first duckling to hatch had blue spots. Mother Duck called him Crayon. The second duckling had brown stripes. Zebra, Mother Duck decided. The third duckling was yellow, and Mother Duck named him Moonlight. A rather odd-looking duckling hatched from the fourth egg. Guji Guji, he said, and that became his name. Mother Duck taught her 4 ducklings how to swim, how to dive, and how to waddle. Guji Guji always learned more quickly than the others. He was bigger and stronger, too. But no matter how quick they were or what they looked like, Mother Duck loved her ducklings all the same. Then, one terrible day, 3 crocodiles came out of the lake. They looked a lot like Guji Guji. The crocodiles were smiling, and when they laughed with their mouths wide open, the whole world could see their big, pointed teeth. The 3 crocodiles saw Guji Guji and smiled some more. Look at that ridiculous crocodile. He's walking like a duck. Guji Guji heard them. I am not walking like a duck. I am a duck, he explained. The crocodiles laughed. Look at yourself. No feathers, no beak, no big webbed feet. What you have is blue-gray skin, sharp claws, pointed teeth, and the smell of bad crocodile. You're just like us. The first crocodile said, your blue-gray body lets you hide underwater without being seen so you can get close to fat, delicious ducks. The second crocodile said, big, sharp claws help you hold fat, delicious ducks tightly so they don't get away. The third crocodile said, pointed teeth are necessary so you can chew fat, delicious ducks. Yum. The 3 crocodiles grinned. We know you live with the ducks. Take them to the bridge tomorrow and practice diving. We'll wait underneath with our mouths wide open. Why would I do that? Guji Guji asked. Why should I listen to you? Because we are all crocodiles, and crocodiles help each other. The bad crocodiles grinned again and vanished into the grass. Guji Guji felt terrible. He sat by the lake to think, is it true? Am I a bad crocodile too? He looked down into the lake and made a fierce face. Guji Guji laughed. He looked ridiculous. I'm not a bad crocodile. Of course, I'm not exactly a duck either. But the 3 crocodiles are nasty, and they want to eat my family. I must think of a way to stop them. Guji Guji thought and thought until finally he thought up a good idea. He went home happy and content. That night, the 3 bad crocodiles sharpened their pointed teeth, all while thinking of fat, delicious ducks. They were ready for their feast. The next day, Googie Googie did as he'd been told. He took the flock of ducks to the bridge to practice diving. The 3 bad crocodiles were waiting for the ducks underneath the bridge. It wasn't fat, delicious ducks that dropped from the bridge, though. It was 3 big, hard rocks. The crocodiles bit down. Crack, 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 went their pointed teeth. The 3 bad crocodiles ran as fast as they could. In barely a minute, they were nowhere to be seen. Googie Googie had saved the ducks. Googie Googie was the duck hero of the day. That night, all the ducks danced and celebrated. Googie Googie continued to live with Mother Duck, Cran, Zebra, and Moonlight, and every day he became a stronger and happier crocoduck. I hope you enjoyed the story today, Googie Googie by Chi-Wen Chun.
As we gather together in prayer and meditation, I offer these words to open our hearts and soothe our souls. Spirit of life, be with us. Stay with us. Let the blessings of this community allow us to fully open our hearts to one another, here in our beloved 1U community, throughout Central Florida, and beyond. May we all continue to feel the warmth of this welcoming space, finding a sanctuary when the challenges of this world become heavy, and we need to find one another to share the burden. Whether we are gathering in worship, spiritual exploration, or justice work, may we feel the thread of acceptance that binds us to one another as together we resist judgment and oppression, create a mighty spiritual front, and use our persistence to spread love and justice and healing. To each spirit who joins this sacred space, this community loves you and affirms your unique worth and dignity, knowing that we become the beloved community with your presence. Let us take a moment of prayer to create welcome in this community for each of us, for our ancestors, and those yet to find us here. As we gather in community, we carry life's hurts and great joys with us. Sometimes sharing these joys and concerns in community begins the healing and expands the joy. I invite you, if you feel called, to share your life's events by writing a name or comments in the chat as this community holds you in love. May we hold all these and one another in love and tenderness, so this congregation may be a source of strength and comfort, courage and hope in the days and weeks ahead.
For me.
Good morning. I'm Rhonda Rodriguez from the One You Worship team. And this Sunday, we are continuing our theme of cultivating relationships, talking about LGBTQIA relationships and what pride means today, living in Orlando, to members of our One You community. We're going to begin by having a conversation with longtime One You members, Aubrey and Charles Connelly-Candelario. Gentlemen, can you begin by just telling us a little bit more about yourselves and how you met and what kind of situation you have for yourselves today?
Sure, do you want to go first?
Sure. Charles and I met just 27 years ago, and it was at a rehearsal for the Orlando Gay Chorus. It was meeting at Rollins Chapel. Charles had been for a season, and I was a new person.
And I thought that was a really interesting person that I wanted to get to know. Aubrey was kind of shy and used to walk around the building, and I finally cornered him and said, "Where do you go?" And we have been together ever since.
Yeah, we literally met on a Wednesday, went on our first date Friday, and have been together ever since.
What sort of challenges have you faced during your time together? As by challenges, I'm thinking about with acceptance or with presenting yourselves as a couple.
I feel like we have been very lucky, blessed, fortunate. But we have great neighbors. I ran a business in downtown Winter Garden for 11 years, and Charles and I were on the front page of the Orlando Sentinel once as a gay couple, and I thought, oh no, this is it. I'm waiting for the rock to come through my window or something. And instead, the other business owners came and congratulated me. What great press for Winter Garden to have us mentioned in the newspaper that way. We both taught at a school together for 10 years. And, they celebrated us when we went to get married in New York. Our son graduated from there. We have just really been accepted for the most part. There have been a few times, I've walked through the neighborhood and got a gay bash lashing from some people once. And I remember walking through Disney World on a Christmas Eve, and we were holding hands. It was so romantic and beautiful. We were actually leaving the park, and a bunch of people started yelling some pretty nasty stuff at us that I won't say here. So although I feel very safe and secure, and I love where I am, it hasn't been without a sort of always a little dig reminder of, hey, you're different, and hey, some of us don't like you.
Yeah, I currently work at Disney. I used to work at Disney. I worked at Disney for 12 years. And then I took 10 years off to work with Aubrey at the school. And I've been back at Disney for about 4 years. And it's interesting because I never volunteer information, except for my close friends. And with my close friends, of course, they know Aubrey and they know me. And then they always come up to me and they go, "Hey, how's your husband?" in front of all my other friends. And it's always a bit awkward for me. But this year, Disney did an inclusion key where they always do safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency are their 4 most important driving factors. And this year they did an inclusion key. And the inclusion key made me feel much more comfortable about celebrating who I am.
And I've been at my school for 18 years now, and a lot of good friends I've made over the years. There's one woman, she's one of our best friends. She just gets such joy out of walking by my classroom, stopping and yelling in and going, "Hey, Mr. Conley, how's your husband? Hope he's great. See ya." Just in front of my students. So, I have no chance of being in where I work. I'm outed by my friends. It's great.
Yeah, and I am too.
Yeah. And then, versus a certain generation, there's still sort of a bashfulness there. And I think she gets that. So she just loves needliness, but it's also really sweet and really wonderful.
Aubrey, what do you think? Because you mentioned there's no way to be in with your students. What do you think that does for them in terms of having a role model or just knowing somebody who is out and active in the community?
Sure. I know it's been great that they tell me. Great. I have cisgendered straight students who say that we often kind of get that thing, you're gay, but you're so normal. And we know that that's just kind of a good inroad, that we break in some stereotypes there. And I also have non-binary students who have outed themselves to me and then slowly outed themselves to each other.
I'm originally from New York. I'm from Long Island, and my sister still lives on Long Island. So we actually got in touch with her and were married in her backyard.
And this before Florida, or well, nationally it was legal. And we were really lucky. Reverend Kathy was able to fly up and be the officiate and in the backyard for our wedding. And a bunch of our friends flew up, and our son was there with us.
I had a bunch of high school friends come and join us. And it was a beautiful ceremony.
But we wanted to do it mostly because of our son. We wanted to be able to combine our last names because he had chosen to combine our last names as his last name. So he actually took Connelly-Candelario a couple years before we did.
Yeah.
You mentioned your son, and so he's grown now, right? Finished high school. What kind of reflections can you share on raising a family, as raising a family as part of this community, and being there together for your son?
For people that don't know, we adopted him at 13. And he is now 22. Thank you.
We're good fathers.
So he's been in our life for
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah. Feels like he's been with us forever, though. And he was. And he's amazing. He moved back to Seattle, which was his home state. And he's in a great relationship now and doing really well. And we're really proud of him, and we keep in constant touch.
Or what do you think Pride means today in Orlando?
I'd have to speak for myself. And it's definitely not being afraid. We are still hesitant, but not being afraid. And I think there's a difference between being hesitant and not being afraid.
But Pride is also, I'm so much more open with Pride into letting other people into our lives, letting other people into my heart. If I didn't have Pride, I wouldn't have been able to let Charles in. We have such a great circle of friends. We love the church. And Pride is just about kind of being fully who we are and being comfortable with that.
Where people are just coming around and being themselves, especially young people.
And to have lived through a time when there were gays and lesbians, and then we're going to get progressive and go gay, lesbians, and bisexuals. It was LGB, I think, when we started, but now to LGBTQ. And we have a son who falls into that spectrum, and so many friends, and just to not judge anybody except by who they are in their heart and who they love and what they love to do. I think when we talk about breaking stereotypes, it's hopefully that.
Thank you both so much. I really appreciate your openness and being willing to take the time to share with us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thinking back on Pride and my relationship with the LGBTQ community during my 20s and the 1990s, it was an exciting time. I was 21 and I was ready for fun. I moved from a very rural area, Sumter County, Florida, to Tampa. It was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. Terrifying to have a roommate who was neither a family member or a high school friend, a stranger in the next room for all accounts. But exhilarating as well to now be a citizen of a major metropolitan city with a socially and politically active LGBTQ community. I think we only had 3 or 4 letters in that back then. Where before, my close friends and I were it, and we were targets for that association back in rural Sumter County. Here in this new promised land, we had pride, out in the open, taking shape in parades, with folks in city and county government and student unions. When I took the journey down I-75 to Tampa, it was a beacon of light I was driving towards, leaving the darkness of rural, subjugated life in the rearview mirror. Granted, my friends and I have been making mandatory weekend excursions since our senior year of high school to Orlando and Tampa. Both cities had a magnetic draw for us based on our love for alternative music, a scene we initially experienced via MTV and our CD vinyl collections. Key nightclubs and venues in both cities opened vital access to an intersection of diverse people, cultures, and music for us. These elements melded into an irresistible motivator, consistently launching us on our Friday and Saturday night pilgrimages. I became active in the local Pride events when I moved to Tampa. A dear friend from high school made the move after me and we started a band. Our apex moment was opening for Lisa Lisa at Tampa Pride in the parking lot of Trax nightclub in Ybor City, 1994. In Tampa, I became the founding member of a local LGBTQ group known as the Tampa Bay Rainbow Pride Band. This opened more doors for me and taught me how to work effectively with others, sharing a common goal towards supporting and expressing our pride in a tangible and political way. Fast forward to now, living in Orlando since 1999, a somewhat different relationship with my community has emerged. Less partying and more attention to adulting. I see Pride now as a check-in with the LGBT community at large, especially the motivations of the younger adults in their 20s through 40s. Many of the main motivators are the same. Many are different. It's comforting and reassuring to see both, as well as the support we enjoy now, even through ever more trying political times, like the triumph of marriage equality and the tragedy of Pulse. In the last 20 years, my experience of Pride and my relationship to the LGBTQ community has been honed. In many ways, not as actively intense and urgent, but still very vigilant, still an effort. An effort full of pride and especially full of hope. As Harvey Milk famously stated, the only thing they have to look forward to is hope. And you have to give them hope. Hope for a better world. Hope for a better tomorrow. Hope for a better place to come. And if the pressures at home are too great, hope that all will be all right. Happy Pride. Hope to you and your loved ones. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carina Cook. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm non-binary. And for me, pride is being able to share your true identity, whether it be with friends, family, or whatever combination. And for me, even if it's with friends, because a lot of kids don't have that. And one example is at my school. On Friday, we had a peaceful protest because 2 trans boys got kicked out of the boys' bathroom because they weren't biologically boys. And that shouldn't be happening anywhere, especially not in public school, because that could really damage people's self-esteem, and it could hurt the kids or even grown-ups' mental health, because as much as they try, people still see them as either biologically girls or biologically boys or whatever. And people say that it doesn't matter that much, but it actually does, because when you're, and this is more the gender spectrum, but it's everything, like, but with the gender, like, when you're misgendered, and like if someone calls you a she on purpose, even though you use he, him pronouns, or if someone calls you a he, even though you use she, her pronouns, or whatever, it hurts. And especially kids with their mental health now don't need more of that with adults who aren't able to open up their minds to new things. And it's just sad that we have to live in a world in which people can't be their true selves without somebody harassing them. And this is everything in the LGBTQ plus spectrum. Because there's so many people, a lot of my friends, like they can't go, they go places and they get harassed because of their gender or their sexuality. And it's rough, and people say that it doesn't really, that people don't have it that bad, but if they were on the other side, they would see how bad it is. So just one thought to put in your head is just next time you see somebody who is trans or on the LGBTQ plus spectrum, try and look at things in their perspective.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. Feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Being and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love and intimacy. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without peace, this world is done. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way.
We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Go in peace. Be well. Live gently yet powerfully. May you use your gifts to better the world. Worship has ended, and now the service truly begins. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape